Who's that Pokemon? Probably Grimer. I think that's just like the safest guess. What's going on, guys and girls? It's Zach from SwitchForce, and we come at you with some Pokemon news as Centro Leaks has a new leak, and we've got to discuss what it means and what games are going to be concocted for the next era of Pokemon. Let me know in the comments down below which game franchises within the Pokemon universe you'd like to see hit Switch 2 first. We know that there is the Pokemon Legends franchise due up early next year. We've already seen that game revealed, but apparently there are 3 Pokemon projects in the works for the next console. This comes to us from Centro Leaks, the biggest source of Pokemon leaks, as they self-proclaim. Our well-known Pokemon leaker claims that 3 Pokemon projects have already been greenlit for the Switch successor, including that project with quotation marks, whatever it means, probably Gen 10. Now this makes me think that Pokemon Legends ZA is not counted as one of these 3, because otherwise they would say so. And it does seem like Pokemon Legends ZA is either going to be a cross-gen title or release first on Switch 1. So we'll cross that out and we'll assume that Gen 10 is one of them. With that being said, there's like tons of Pokemon franchises on Switch, so the other 2 games could come from a variety of places. I was pretty flabbergasted when I looked at the list of Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch and how many different individual franchises within the greater Pokemon umbrella they comprise. Okay, obviously we have one, which is the mainline Pokemon franchise. That is like our Gen 8, Gen 9, and one of these games, that game, Gen 10. So that's one of them, right? But that's one Pokemon franchise. A second Pokemon franchise on Nintendo Switch is Pokken Tournament. Man, would I love for Pokken Tournament to come back. I think that game is criminally underrated. I had a ton of fun with it. I love that they brought in some DLC. I think the DX version is great. So that's 2. There's also the Let's Go franchise. That's 3. There is the Pokemon Quest franchise 4, Mystery Dungeon 5, Pokemon remakes like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, that's 6. New Pokemon Snap, that's 7. Pokemon Legends, that's 8, but we can throw that one out because we know ZA is coming. Pokemon Cafe, that's 9. Pokemon Unite, that's 10. So, and oh, Detective Pikachu Returns, that's freaking 11 different options of Pokemon, side projects to go into besides the main line. 10 besides the main line. The 11th one being the main line. So we can rule out the main line, as we're assuming that's one of the 3. We can rule out Legends because that's already been announced. We got 2 more Pokemon games that have apparently been greenlit. And I know some of you are going to say, Zach, this is nothing. Pokemon games are always greenlit, Pokemon games are always coming, but I do think it's fascinating to try and figure out which ones are coming first, which ones get the priority, and which ones get left behind. It's very likely that all 11 of these Pokemon pathways will not continue on to Switch 2. We know that they're investing heavily in the Pokemon trading card game with regular releases in the physical format and that awesome app that's supposedly coming soon. I think Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is one that they will keep going, but I think we have to reframe this because now Nintendo enters an era with the Switch 2 where power is much more palpable, right? We have Pokemon Company able to access a far greater system. Will they want to rely on some of these more handheld type titles like Mystery Dungeon, like Quest, like Cafe Remix, or will they go more tentpole like mainline Legends and Pokken Tournament? I honestly think one of these games is going to be Pokken Tournament. I think Nintendo is probably taking their time with the next Smash Bros. I don't think it'll release as early in the console lifecycle as the most recent Smash Bros. I think a Nintendo Fighter is something that would be good for them to get out there, fill in that genre, and Pokemon Tournament can do that. Pokken Tournament, sorry, gosh. So many different Pokemons here. I also think that Pokemon Let's Go is going to come back. A lot of people believe that Pokemon Remake series will come back first with a black and white remake, but guys, I think that still has a chance to hit this year, and I don't think that's something that's been greenlit for Switch 2. I think that's something that might just come out on Switch 1. But Let's Go could return in a way with better graphics and take advantage of a brand new audience, including a huge carryover audience from Switch 1, and sell like gangbusters once again. It'll be interesting to see how TPC handles this transition because they're not really used to home consoles. I still don't feel like they are, even after multiple attempts on the current Switch. Look at the performance problems that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had, despite being awesome games. I love those games. I think the open world nature and the non-linear structure of the gym battles is phenomenal, fantastic, still could use some work, but was the greatest evolutionary step in the Pokemon mainline series in a long time. And similarly, I think Pokemon Legends has a great chance to evolve Pokemon itself in its own unique way, and ZA could be a really great step forward for that sub-series. But in terms of some of these others, like, is there a space for Pokemon Snap once again on Switch 2? I don't know. Pokemon Unite can just carry over and continue as a free-to-play app. Pokemon Home's more of a storage solution than a game. Detective Pikachu is probably done. I think Detective Pikachu is probably done. I think Pokemon Cafe is, maybe they bring the game over, but I don't think that you're going to see a new entry. Quest is probably done. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is too popular probably to cancel out. And just because the Switch 2 has more power does not mean that Nintendo won't continue to pump out games that would have been on their handheld system. Remember, the benefit of the Switch is that it allows their handheld and home console divisions to merge together for maximum output on one platform, but they're not going to step away from the fan base that would definitely buy a portable. Especially in Japan, the handheld nature of Switch is super appreciated, super popular, and games that would be on like a 4DS are very successful. I think Pokemon Mystery Dungeon does continue, and honestly, that could be one of the games that's currently greenlit. But I sure hope it's Pokken Tournament. I think that could be a really fun sleeper hit, and I think it's something that, with the assistance of Bandai Namco, could do really well on Switch and be really rewarding for Nintendo fans. I also think, given Necrophilippe's leak recently, that he knows that Bandai Namco is fully on board with Switch 2. They'll be supporting it with games at launch, and for the whole first year, it makes sense that Nintendo will be, again, actively and aggressively working with them to bring even more first-party titles to the Switch 2 early in its life cycle. Let me know which Pokemon games you'd love to see on Switch 2. Eventually, we'll get tons, right? The surprise here is not, oh, Pokemon games coming to Switch 2, big whoop. We know that they're coming. But the surprise here is that A, Pokemon Legends ZA might just be a Switch 1 title that does have cross-gen capabilities rather than a Switch 2 launch game. And B, which of these franchises within the Pokemon universe do you think deserve an early slot? Remember, as the console progresses, just like with the Switch 1, they will dive into smaller pools, right? They'll pull out remakes, they'll pull out remasters, they'll bring back old games. We might get Pokemon Troyes HD. Probably not, but I think in terms of early heavy hitters, Let's Go and Pokken Tournament both came out early in the Switch life cycle, and I think they could repeat the process once again. The mainline game probably will not be ready for a year or two, I would guess, maybe 3. What's their big first Switch 2 Pokemon game? Is the Black and White game going to end up being on Switch 2 instead of Switch 1? Is this Legends title going to get bumped to Switch 2? Or are they going to debut with something brand new? I think that's one last option to think about here. Nintendo has been inventive with their Pokemon games throughout the year. They've worked to try to take the Pokemon to different places. Way better than, say, the Animal Crossing franchise, which is now uber popular, yet hasn't really seen that many diverse spin-offs. Hopefully it's something they can correct in the coming generation. But Pokemon could do something new. Pokemon Sports, Pokemon board games, Pokemon, online Battle Royale. There are a lot of avenues for Pokemon to expand to beyond the 11 that we discussed here today. So if you have any brilliant ideas, let me know. But personally, I'd love to see a new type of Pokemon game that we can't quite predict. The Switch gave us the Legends series, which is fantastic. It rebirthed Pokemon Snap, which is awesome. It gave us the first open world experience in a Pokemon title. I think the Switch 2, with its increased power, better graphics, and with TPC's experience with home console development now, we could be in for a real treat. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, SwitchForce out.